Hello BookTube. Today I want to talk about some changes I made to my library this past weekend and how those changes have lit a fire in me that will inform how I approach my library over the course of this coming year and in the years to follow, likely. Also, the possibility of a library tour and my issues with unhauling books. So, um, this camera angle is different from what I normally do. Normally, I either film at my desk or I film on the opposite side of my bed so that you can see the history wall. Um, so, basically, for the last few months, um, this bookcase here was on the other side of this bookcase here, closer to the door. But I never really liked that arrangement. I wanted taller bookcases. And I have for a long time thought about um, putting these two together. And then a few weeks ago, I started really looking at both of them and looking at them some more, and I thought, well, maybe I could just go ahead and put this one on top of this one in the with the hope that the legs on this bookcase here would be able to go on top of or go over this bookcase here. That didn't happen. That didn't work out. The bookcase on top is slightly thinner than the bookcase it's on top of. So putting that one on top of to where the legs would kind of cover wouldn't work. But it's thin enough to where it would fit comfortably on the top shelf of this bookcase. So last Saturday, while I was in between sessions of fairy tale, I decided to go ahead and clear what few books were on this bookcase, clean it up, and go ahead and put it on top of this one, and then filled it with books. And I loved it. I love how it looks right now. And then I decided, well, since I'm doing this, I might as well go ahead and move the bookcase I had in the hall back in here so that I can kind of create a bookish unit with the wall shelf, this double bookcase, this bookcase here, and that one. So this is sort of what I've got right now. So see how it looks, and that's the hall door. So I'm happy. I love this arrangement. Every time I see it, it fills me with joy. Um, and that has lit a fire in me because now my hall's kind of naked. It needs bookcases. So I'm probably in the next few months, I will go ahead and buy at least maybe one really big bookcase or two or three smaller ones to kind of fill that space up. I'm thinking about switching out my dresser with a different one so that I could get a few more bookcases or at least one more bookcase or something in that space. And when I do that, I'll be sure to show you how that works out. I'm also really wanting to, obviously there's space here that is currently sort of where my desk is. And I've been thinking maybe I could get rid of my desk too and fill this wall and the wall that way with the bookcases too. So I am definitely in an expansionist mood with my library, which is exciting. Now, that kind of leads me to the issue of, and also there's a space on the history wall that I kind of would like to try to fill up a bit more. Because I really don't want any empty wall space in here. I want to try to get as many bookcases in here as I can without impeding too much the door. But anyway, so yeah, I'm definitely in an expansionist mood. But then that leads me to wonder about how I want to reorganize my collection, because right now this grouping is my classics, canonical, modern, contemporary fiction, poetry, drama. And I like that arrangement. But I also really would like to have a space for my science fiction and fantasy, which is currently the tail end of this grouping. It's some of my science fiction, and then the bookcase that jets out also has some science fiction, and then the rest are in boxes, which I'll get to later. But I want to do something with them, and I don't know if I should sort of where I want to put them, either where they used to be, like on the jutting out bookcase, and then the double-sided one, and then the bookcase that my brother made, which at some point I do think I want to change out, even though I do have sentimental attachments to. Although I think I'm the only person who does. I think even my brother's like, you just go ahead and get rid of them. But anyway, or maybe in the hall. I don't quite know what I want to do. Because I really need to take a hard look at my science fiction and fantasy and decide what I want to do, if I want to, how much of them I want to keep, because I have a lot of them in bookcases. But that does also lead to a desire to do a 2023 library tour. I have, my collection has expanded since the last time I did a library tour. The library has changed, so a library tour would really be beneficial, particularly I think, as Steve Donahue says, to really get a good handle on a visual record of what I have and a real look at, do I want to keep this book or don't I? And also will allow me to clean the shelves, because particularly like this grouping here tends to get rather dusty. The double-sided one gets a bit dusty, so they need some cleaning. So I'll probably do my 2023 library tour starting in February after I do my January book haul, which is looking to be a lot larger than I had originally intended it to be. But yeah, that's what I do, as I get a lot of books. So yeah, and that leads me to unhauling. So I know I made a few videos last year talking about my desire to get a better handle on my collection and really not necessarily downsize, but start to send out books that I don't really want anymore, that are just languishing on my shelves. And I had decided that I was going to hold off until 2023 to really start doing that. But that led me up to the realization that a lot of what I would like to do regarding unhauling would need transportation. So my original plan was some of the books I would donate to friends of the library, the one in Waco, the Waco McLennan County Libraries, Friends of the Library System, either to put into their collection or to put into the book sale. And the others I would try initially to trade in for store credits to pals, the storied independent bookstore in Portland, Oregon, who accept online book trade-ins or book sales. You basically type in what books you have. Pals will accept or reject, and then you basically ship them through UPS. And then those that Pals isn't interested in, and if I really want to get rid of them immediately, trade them into Golden's Book Exchange, a used bookstore in Waco, which is one of my favorite used bookstores. But all three of them require transportation, and I don't drive, so I would have to have somebody take me. And my brother and sister-in-law tend to be a bit weaselly about that. So I need to figure out. I mean, I think I could still do the donations because as long as it's basically just put the donations in a box in the trunk and then go to the library where they accept the donations and then they just come out and pick up the books from the trunk. That would work. Because I could go when like there's a doctor's appointment or something and it wouldn't be that hard to do. Um, but so going to the UPS store or to Golden's, that might be a bit more difficult. They might not really be willing to do that because they haven't really been willing to do that in the past, COVID or no COVID. So I need to sort of rethink that, I think. I'm just not entirely sure. I know Steve Donahue has mentioned setting up like an Amazon storefront and selling some books that way, but I don't know. So I guess one thing I would like to know is if anybody has ever sold books to pals online and how that went, or if they've done like a store on Amazon and sold books that way, how those worked out, if they were successful, if they were too bothersome to worry about, and sort of other ideas, and then thinking of other ideas of maybe how to unhaul books. So anyway, but I think also there is a bit of caution on my part about unhauling because I mean I have unhauled ruthlessly before, but there's a part of me that comes to regret it and wishing I had those books back. So that's a whole nother complication. So anyway, BookTube, this was a rambly video about changes to my library. Tomorrow I will have a tag video. There's a new one that is a remix of an old one that I'm really looking forward to doing. Wednesday, I don't know what I'm going to do. Thursday, don't know. Friday, of course, we'll finish off my fairy tale series. I will be finishing Fairy Tale today. I've got 3 volumes left off of a great weekend of reading Fairy Tale. And then tomorrow I'll start on Papyrus. So, but again, as I mentioned a few times, the books that I read after Fairy Tale this week, I will talk about on the next weekly reads, which will be on the 27th, I think. It won't be this Friday because I'm going to finish off Fairy Tale. It'll be the following Friday. So it'll be about a almost 2-week weekly reads, which might be fun. So any BookTube, I'm starting to ramble, so I will go ahead and sign up for now. So until I see you tomorrow, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.